A pleasant afternoon to each and every one of us, especially to our instructor, Ma'am Anami Argente. Andrea Morillo here from Group 2, standing here to present the history, principles, and characteristics, the role of teachers and students, and the time and the reason of effectiveness of these two methods, audiolingual and communicative language teaching method. Let's focus first on the audiolingual method. Did you know that audiolingual method is also known as the Army method or the new key? We may have heard about the Army method or the do as I say in military. No complaints, just follow. What is the historical background of audiolingual method? The audiolingual method or ALM arose as a direct result of the need for foreign language proficiency in listening and speaking skills during and after World War II. It is closely tied to behaviorism and thus made drilling, repetition, and habit formation central elements of instruction. Proponents of ALM felt that this emphasis on repetition necessitated a corollary emphasis on accuracy, claiming that continually repetition of errors would lead to the fixed acquisition of incorrect structures and non-standard pronunciation. In the classroom, lessons were often organized by grammatical structure and presented through short dialogues. What are the principles under this method? The first method is language is speech, not writing. This implies that the emphasis is on correct intonation. Principle number 2. Listening and speaking should be taught before reading and writing. It should be realistic and situational from the start. The mastery of oral skills should precede reading and writing, which will act as reinforcements. Principle number 3. Language is a set of habit. Learning is controlled through behavior. Principle number 4. It teaches the language, not about the language. Instructions are given in the target language. Principle number 5. Language forms occur within a context. Make sure to put or use situations that could resonate to your students. Principle number 6. The student's native language interferes as little as possible with the student's attempts to acquire the target language. Analogy provides a better foundation for language learning than analysis. It is more on speaking. The next principle is errors are carefully avoided because they lead to the formation of bad habits. Principle number 10. Positive reinforcement helps to develop correct habits like, wow, that's great, that's correct, excellent. Okay, next principle. Principle number 11. Students are encouraged to learn to respond to both verbal and non-verbal stimuli. Principle number 12. The teacher is regarded as an orchestra leader conducting, guiding, and controlling the student's behavior in the target language. Principle number 13. Learning a foreign language is treated on par or as good as with the native language learning. Principle number 14. A comparison between the native language and the target language is supposed to help teachers to find the areas with which their students probably experience difficulty. This is expected to help students to overcome the habit of native language. Principle number 15. Language is not seen separated from culture. Culture is the everyday behavior of people who use the target language. So, one of the responsibilities of the teacher is to present information about that culture in context. So, meaning to say, you will use the language in the context that your students are more likely to know, or something like there are more, they can relate more. Principle number 16. The students are taken to be the imitators of the teacher's model or the tapes. Like, hi! Then the students will say, hi! Okay, next principle. The dialogue is the chief means of presenting vocabulary, structures, and it is learned through repetition and imitation. Like what I've give example from the principle number 17. The dialogue is the chief means of presenting vocabulary, structures, and it is learned through repetition and imitation. Like for example, how are you today? I am feeling great. Okay, next principle is mimicry, memorization, and pattern drills are the practice techniques that are emphasized. Next principle, most of the interaction is between the teacher and the learner, and it is imitated by the learner. The 20th principle is listening and speaking are given priority in language teaching, and they precede reading and writing. The next principle, or the 21st principle, is correct pronunciation, stress, rhythm, and intonation are emphasized. The next principle is the meanings of the words are derived in a linguistic and cultural context and not in isolation. And last but not least, the 23rd principle. Audio-visual aids are used to assist the student's ability to form new language habits. So, in overall, we have 23 principles under audiolingual method. Now, let's proceed on the characteristics of it. The first characteristic of audiolingual method is, first, drills are used to teach structural patterns. There is a structure that you or the students might follow along the drilling or the activity. The second characteristic is set phrases are memorized with a focus on intonation. So it's all about how you speak or how you use the language. The third characteristic of it is grammatical explanations are kept to minimum. So because this activity or this method is all about mimicry or repetition. The fourth characteristic is vocabulary is taught in context. Fifth, audio-visual aids are used. And the sixth one is focus is on pronunciation. Like this, pronunciation. So now, let's proceed on the roles of the teachers and the students. In audiolingual method, the teacher's role is central and active. It is a teacher-dominated method or teacher-centered. The teacher models the target language, controls the direction and pace of learning, and monitors and corrects the learner's performance. The students are going to repeat the dialogues as per instruction of the teacher. So, when and why audiolingual method might be effective? The audiolingual method aims to develop communicative competence of students using dialogues and drills. The use of dialogues and drills are effective in foreign language teaching as they lead the students to produce speech. Meaning to say, this is repetition to form, or there is a repetition to form a good habit of speaking. Meaning to say, there should be a repetition to form a good habit in speaking. To fully understand this method, let's watch this.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, ma'am.
Today, you are going to repeat everything what I say, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
This is student A and student B. They are going to converse with each other, okay? Yes, miss. Hello, Angeline. Hello, Jacob.
How are you today? I'm feeling great. How about you? Are you hungry?
Yes, I am very hungry. Now, you're going to repeat after me, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Angeline.
Hi, Angeline.
Hello, Jacob.
Hello, Jacob.
How are you today?
How are you today?
I am feeling great.
I am feeling great.
Are you hungry?
Are you hungry?
I am very hungry.
I am very hungry.
Give ourselves a 5 clap. Okay, I prepared something for you, but not for you to eat. You're going to repeat after me. What is this?
A mango.
Okay, there is a mango on a table.
There's a mango on the table.
What is this?
A salt.
There's a salt on a table.
There's a salt on the table.
Okay, what is this?
A book.
Use the word books in the sentence.
There's a book on the table.
What is this?
A stone.
Use this in the sentence.
There's a stone on the table.
Okay, let's repeat. There's a mango on the table.
There's a mango on the table.
There's a salt on the table.
There's a salt on the table.
There's a cell phone on the table.
There's a cell phone on the table.
There's a book on the table.
There's a book on the table.
What is this?
A phone.
There's a cell phone on the table.
There's a cell phone on the table.
Hey, that's great. Okay, for our last activity, I prepared a conversation between two friends. I am going to repeat and you are going to repeat what I say, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, friend.
Good morning, friend.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you done with your assignment?
Are you done with your assignment?
Yes, I finished answering yesterday. How about you?
Yes, I finished answering yesterday. How about you?
Yes, I am also done answering. Let's go before we miss the bus.
Yes, I am also done answering. Let's go before we miss the bus.
Okay, thank you very much class for your cooperation of our audio-lingual activity for today.
Wow! What a comprehensible performance is that! Now that you have a gist of what audiolingual method is and how it can be incorporated in the classroom setting, let's delve into our second and last but not least method. It is called Communicative Language Teaching or CLT, or also known as Communicative Approach. Let's now dive in on the principles of communicative approach. First principle, language as it is used in real context should be introduced. So the language should be used in real life situations. The second principle is students should be able to figure out the speaker's or the writer's intentions. So when we are speaking or using the language, there should be an intention of why we are saying that thing for us to know on how to actually use the language based on ourselves or our thinking or etc. Or it could be based on the situation also. The third principle is the target language is the vehicle for classroom communication. So meaning to say, medium of instruction, and it is used also in activities and etc. The fourth principle is one function may have many different linguistic forms. Meaning to say that there is this one function and we have many students and they have different thinkings on how they will react or say about something or situation. And so we can see that in different activities like in group activities, role plays. The fifth principle is opportunities should be given to students to express their ideas and opinions. So meaning to say the students will be the one who will construct the languages or use the dialogues in a certain situation. Sixth, Errors are seen as natural outcome of the development of communication skills. It is way different from ALM. The seventh one is fluency is much more important than accuracy. 8. Creating situations to promote communication is one of the teacher's responsibility. Like for example, in role plays, the teacher will give them scenarios to act. The next one is the social context of the communicative events is essential in giving meaning to the utterances. Principle number 9. The social context of the communicative events is essential in giving meaning to the utterances. The 10th principle is the teacher acts as an advisor during communicative activity, a facilitator of students' learning, a manager of a classroom activity, and a co-communicator. The 11th principle is when communicating, a speaker has a choice about what to say and how to say it. So that ends with the principles of communicative language teaching method or approach. In overall, there are 11 principles under this method. Let's now dive in on its characteristics. Characteristics of communicative language teachings are there is an emphasis on functional language use, promotion of student-centered learning, incorporation of authentic materials, focus on real-life scenarios, and prioritizing communication and fluency over solely accuracy and grammar. It's very different from ALM. What are the roles of teachers and students in this method? Teachers in communicative classrooms will find themselves talking less and listening more, becoming active facilitators of their students' learning. This is according to Larner Freeman 1986. For the students, their roles are do the most. For the students, they do the most of the speaking. And frequently, the scene of classroom during a communicative exercise is active, with students leaving their seats to complete a task. When and why communicative language teaching method might be effective. CLT activities are most effective when they allow students to work together in pairs or groups. This mimics realistic communication that encourages fluency over grammatical competence. To fully understand this method, let's watch this.
Yesterday, we had an activity about Lingual. And now, let's have an activity about communicative language. I am going to group the class in two. Start with group. Okay, time's up. Group up, let's proceed. What happened? Are you okay? My boyfriend got out. What happened?
That's okay, sis. Don't settle for less.
You deserve better. But you should love yourself first. We're here for you.
That's all, Mom.
Wow, that's very heartwarming solution. Thank you, group one. Right,
Oh my God, Minnie, what happened to you?
I got injured during the typhoon.
Are you okay?
It's kind of hurt. Just remove it.
Oh my God!
You should seek for professional care. You should go to the doctor.
Yes. I told my parents and we will go later this afternoon.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, thanks.
Next time you should take a good care of yourself. Yeah. And that ends the presentation of Group 2. Thank you.